So let's work on this a little bit more. What I want to do is I want to start to affect the neck. So if I'm looking up here at the top, um, what I'm probably going to do is I'll just take this and I'm going to do an inset. So when I start to inset this, it'll go like that. And what I want to do is just get rid of these two center pieces. And I'm going to have to bring this back to center on this side. So if I grab it, I could either just hit S for my snap and just drag it and snap it to the center, which it sometimes doesn't always cooperate exactly what you expect. And I think because I don't have the model currently centered. So let's back up a minute and look at the model. If I have this, let's go from the top view. So I do have it centered. So let's hit F4 and F5. So if I grab a vertice and I've got my snap on, I'm going to hit S to turn the snap on right there. And I can turn the angle snap off, and I'm going to look at my snaps. And it is set to grid point. So I should be able to snap that to a grid point. And as you can see, it's not really doing it. So the cool thing is, Max doesn't have the snaps that Maya does is good. But what it does have is, I know on X, I can actually place the vertice on the X value, which on Maya you can't quite do that. And you can see, when I place this on 0, you can see that that's not quite where 0 thinks it should be. So if I get rid of this, I can see this whole model is kind of off a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to get all of the center verts. So I'm just going to look and make sure I have them all. And if I wanted to actually make sure that I'm selecting them all, I could just get this open border, which would select them all. And then I'm going to control click here onto vertice. I'm going to hit S to turn off this snap so I won't get that yellow crosshair. And then over here, I'm going to go ahead and say make planar on the X. And once those are all planar, then I'm going to actually right click here to center them on the X. Once that's all done, I'm going to go here and say affect pivot only, and then I'm going to right click there, which is going to put the pivot right on the X. So if I click T again and look down from a top view, let's hit G, you can see all of it is right on the X. So when I click this to mirror it, I'm going to get a mirror that is exactly round. It's exactly, not round, thinking of two things at once. Round for the neck. I was getting ahead of myself. The mirror is going to be exactly symmetrical. So what I want to do is I want to select this half that we already were working with, and I want to click this vertice, and we'll just bring it over a little bit, and we'll go back and up a little bit. And I wouldn't even have to go up if I changed this to edge. When I start to drag back, it would just stay on that line. So kind of keep that edge for me. This one, I want to move this one forward and then maybe over a little bit. So what I'm trying to do is just get a neck here. Or let's take the edge off. Go back to none. As I bring this up, I'm trying to get a round shape that I'm going to use for my neck. So I'm going to right click and say extrude and just extrude this up. You can see my extrude is already set. Let's right click and go to the dialog box. It was set to by polygon. We want to do it by local normal. Or we could do it by group like that, which would probably be better. And so now we've got kind of a neck going up out of his head. So I might take these verts and just move them over just a little bit so the neck kind of tapers. That's all I'm really looking forward to do, is that I have a neck that just sort of comes out of the torso, so I know what I'm doing. So here, and this is the beauty of once the model is set up correctly, you can add things really, really easy just by clicking on a model. So once I have this, I can go to, let's close this dialog box, and we'll close this one. And I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm just going to grab Edit and tug it down here so I can get this Swift loop. And I want to put a Swift loop right about there for my elbow. And I want to put one just above where the elbow is. And let's put one just below where the elbow is. And we'll do one here too. Well, as we get down towards the wrist, we'll put one here and maybe one there. So when I look at this shape, in Max, if I wanted to bring something out and I want to pull it straight out, it's hard to do because, like, if I come over here and I get to local normal, it may be right, but it may be going at some weird odd angle. So what I want to do is if I hit F to go to a front view, and if we change views, we gotta always hit F3 and F4 to make sure it's shaded. What I want to do is I want to set something up here so I can pull stuff directly this way and directly that way, and it'll follow along. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So what I'm going to do is in the creation panel, I'm going to click the systems. So this one, it's trying to hover to see. I think it used to be helpers. So if I click dummy, I can draw just a box right here. What I want to do with that box is just rotate it because I want it to roughly be on the same axis. It doesn't have to be identical. It just has to be close. And let's just make sure it's kind of close this way. You can also hit T and look at it from a top view. We could rotate, let's go to local, and we'll just rotate it just a little bit this way so that it looks like it's going kind of in the same direction as our arm. So now, if I click on the model, it's, my space bar was on, so I'm going to hit F to go to front view. I want to move stuff, but I want to move it based on a pivot point that I'm going to pick. And I'm going to pick the dummy. So you can see it's going to say dummy right there. So when I come over here and I grab a vertice and I want to shape something, I can click this and I'm going to tell this to go by the dummy, which is going to give us a pivot point that's going to allow us to do things like this, where we can move geometry. I didn't quite want to move this one, so I'll move it back. And maybe move these two up a little bit. Nah, we'll do, this one's actually going to be like this. I'm going to take these and just move it up this way. And I'm going to grab this one and move it down. And I'll grab this one and move it up. So what I'm going for is I'm going for a situation where this is the line of his elbow. And this is the muscle up here that attaches above the elbow to the humerus, and these are his flexors down here. So if I hit F again and go to the front, I'm going to hit G to turn the grid off. And I want to make sure I don't have the space bar selected. I can grab this stuff even on his wrist and just kind of push it up a little bit to make it a little bit thinner. So I think that's pretty good. I want to grab the front of this. So this is the front of our elbow, and I'm just going to say chamfer, and we'll make it a little bit less than that. Something about like that, and say OK. And this section in the middle, we're going to get rid of this whole thing. So, and I didn't need to even put that in there. It was an accident. So let's rotate around here. I want to get this section here and this part here. Get rid of that. and get rid of this. Make sure I didn't leave any vertices behind, and all I really want to do is let's connect. Let's do a target weld, and I'm going to connect this little piece with that piece. And on the bottom of the elbow, or on the underside of the elbow and inside of the arm, if I come up here, I'm going to grab this one and connect it to that piece. So what's going to happen is when this arm bends, this is going to be the elbow and this is going to be the inside. And so the inside of the arm is going to come together without having any kind of crunching, pinching problems. So, and it also gives us another row that we can use to kind of, modify these flexors a little bit. And we can also take this and bring it up a little bit to kind of accommodate the shape of the arm. So something like that, maybe a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot, something like that. So let's take these two and these two, and we're just going to move them forward a little bit. And we'll move this one forward a little bit. So we're getting kind of a shape to our arm that we want. We'll take this elbow, these two for the elbow, and we're going to move them back a little bit. Like that. If I look at the underside of the elbow, I really wanted this to come together right on this line. So I'm going to go ahead and collapse that and make it like that. That looks better. Okay, so something like that for the arm. And I think we're pretty good there. If I wanted something to go up around the leg and come back down the back side of the leg, and by the way, I can move this knee over. The knee kind of got shifted. Let's take this back to a whirl position. When we rotated the foot, the knee kind of got shifted a little bit, and I can grab this and just move it that way slightly. It's still got kind of a convex, actually concave curve there, but I want it to be a little bit less pronounced than it was, and we can bring this in a little bit. Alright, so it looks like we're going to make another video. Like, that arm shaping took a lot longer than I thought, and so I'll make another video.